It's me. I'm not in my shed, but there is the shed. I'm going to talk iPods for a specific reason, in that I have busted my back and seem incapable of doing anything else. In case you're interested, and even if you're not, I busted my back trying to get a mattress out of our house, down the stairs and into the boot of my estate car. Mostly I have to confess because my wife said it couldn't be done. It was in the way, so there is a bit of a win in that we have now got rid of the mattress, but I am now rendered incapable of doing anything apart from sitting in this chair. This chair was rescued from the side of the road because someone had decided it was no longer needed, and I took it up north to my father, and it was decided there that was no longer needed, so it's now down in my house, and later I will take advantage of its massaging qualities to try and get my back a little bit better. But I've had a terrible night. Only thing that kept me going through the night was listening to audiobooks, so I'm going to talk a little bit about audiobooks, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about a new 4th Gen iPod I've got, and I'm going to do a very quick cut. I'm not going to do a swipe like they do on the Instagram. I'm going to go past the cat and down to the 2 iPods, which are there. I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to chop it onto a video in which I try an experiment. One of those is black and white and has Rockbox. One of them is colour and doesn't. The colour one clearly on the right. What I'm going to try and do is, oh, something terrible's happened with the Rockbox one. That's great. It's never happened in rehearsals. I'm going to put Rockbox on that one, and then I'm going to compare, and I'm going to probably look at compare the screens, because superficially these two look really, really similar. If I bought one of these, let's see if I can just put it into stock. If I bought one when it came out in, I think, 2004, keep the finger down to go back in stock. If I bought one that came out in 2004, the black and white one, and then less than a year later the colour one came out, I might have been a little bit miffed, particularly since after this one came out, this lasted a year before I think they discontinued it and issued the U2 special edition just before they discontinued it, and I think the Harry Potter special edition, which I don't have one of, because I suspect it would be quite collectible given the twin popularity of iPods and Harry Potter. So I've no desire to spend silly money on it. I've got U2 one which currently doesn't work. There's no stock songs on this one, but obviously it's got the original OS underneath Rockbox. This one I don't think has Rockbox, so I'm going to go to some screen recording. I'm going to put Rockbox on there, and then you can kind of see some similarity comparison between the two screens, but I might put my controversial covers bare-chested ladies folder on there and kind of see what on here. They're in a folder, so you kind of know where they are, and it's in Rockbox, so they're not accessible. I might put them on here via iTunes and see how the experiences differ. If I yelp in pain through the process, then you'll know that I'm in pain. But for now, 2004, 4th generation iPods, reasonable battery life at this point. We'll see how they get on when we load. Okay, well, we're on screen now. Just had to change my wallpaper to disguise some personal details. I'm going to fire up iTunes. I said I was going to talk about audiobooks. I've got so this was the kind of motivation for me. I wanted to listen to The Big Midweek, which is an excellent fall biography by bassist Steve Hanley, I've read the book, but this one is narrated by Stuart Lee, who is a full fan, and really one of those very few occasions where I think you have to experience it by listening to it rather than reading it. I think it was timely me starting to decide to be interested in audiobooks because, as I said, audiobooks are going to get me through a period of not being able to do anything. I probably should just in help work out which version of iTunes we are looking at. Version 12.10.11.2. Various forums will recommend various versions for various tasks. I'm currently operating under the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" school of thought. Not sure why I've got just those. Now then, this James Acaster's Classic Scrapes, which I found on the internet, I believe that's formatted as an LP, and that's one of the things. Sorry, as an album, and others in my collection. And even if you rip it from the CD, one of the best sources of these things is ripping a CD. Audiobooks are very cheap and cheerful. Most charity shops and second-hand retailers are very keen to get rid of them, so they're often priced at £1, or you can get all sorts of deals on them, so they're a good source. But I wanted to have a look at putting the iPod audiobook file extension is, I think, .m4b, which is essentially a M4a file, just with the possibility of including DRM, that's digital rights management. So, boo, digital rights management, but also, hooray, it's got things like chapters and bookmarking, which you can add to the mix. What I should have done was plug in the iPod before I started talking rather than after. I have now plugged in this iPod. I think what I will do is, there it comes up. I haven't moved that. I've talked about this before, but I usually like to change the properties of that to so it's not hidden. For reasons which kind of a bit lost in the midst of time. Perhaps I'll remember why, but it just, certainly with terms of Rockbox, it gives you more. Oh, I know why. It's so you can, if you've got an iPod with music on it, you can rescue that music from it, even though the file names are a bit dodgy. So that has been recognised there, and it's been recognised here. It's the Ipod Photo. In my preamble, I was trying to say that the Harry Potter Special Edition came out after they discontinued the line, and it was replaced, of course, by the 5th generation iPod Video. So this is the Ipod Photo. If I just go back to the audio books, and let's see where I can find this. Yes, I've got file. I'm going to add a folder to the library. I've got some Sherlock Holmes here. I think I added all of these. Let's just say, for example, yes, I definitely added that. If you look inside there, well, you'd have to use Explorer, but there are 2 or 3 files in there. But let's add that folder to iTunes. That's Sherlock Holmes. I think it will show up. There it is. In the library. Could I do that with another one? File, add folder to the library. Let's go back to Holmes. The final problem. There we go. I don't need to be in that folder. I'm adding the final problem folder to there, and hoping that that shows up somewhere in there we go. That's added very quickly. So if I then want to add the final problem to my iPod, I just stick it over there. We can then see the audiobooks that are on here, top of the chop. It's copying. These are all on there already. Sherlock Holmes, the final problem, is added there. So I've got a do not disconnect sign on the iPod itself, but that should enable us to have a look at that audiobook in a few moments. Let's close. We said we were going to put Rockbox on there. So I've got a variety of music that I have put on here. Those are chapters. So these are audiobooks that are showing as just a normal album. This CD, which came from Carl W. Carl W. clearly a big fan of Coldplay, lots of their stuff on there, and some Bad Moon Riders. Got a kind of nice middle of the road selection, which I wanted to keep on there. Slightly disconcerted by all these random tracks that don't seem to be attributed to any album. That's metadata that needs looking at, and I'll probably tidy all that up later. But for now, if I click on the device and eject it from iTunes, there's gone. I'm then going to close iTunes there. I'm going to search for Rockbox in here. I do have a copy of it somewhere. I was hoping not to have to search for it in Bing, if that's all right with you. Let's see if there is. Perhaps we'll go down that, because obviously we want the kind of daily version. So Rockbox is there. Rockbox Utility X. Yes, I do want to allow Rockbox to make some changes to the computer. Configuration is invalid. Auto detect is normally the way to go, I think. So it is not. I want the colour one. It's not U2. It's not that one. It's not the grey one. It is that one. That is the one it is. I want to click on OK. Mount point does not exist. That's normally the case if it's not been recognised here and it isn't showing up there. So let's just unplug it and plug it in again. Perhaps because I closed Rockbox, that might be why that's happening. Hopefully the iPod will show up here, and if it does, then there it is. It's shown up there, so hopefully then Rockbox will be able to detect it. If I click on auto detect, it's identified it, and we can click on OK. So installing Rockbox, I'll just pick a couple of themes for now. Like to normally spend some time getting quite a few, but obviously you've got less of a range for the four, so stock standard ones like Ipod, which I'd normally go for, aren't there. Cabby is a kind of standard, bog standard one. Keep it simple, stupid will be another one. There are some wide screen ones normally at the bottom of here. You can be more discriminating about what you are putting on here, but I am just putting a few. That's a red one. I don't really want a Linkin Park one. I think is normally quite good. Let's go for that one and that one. 8 pounds of colour. Sometimes you're just choosing these on the basis of the names. Blue and blackness. A yellow one and a black one. All like that. Looks good. So we've selected those. I don't like the voice file on the 5 and it's not an option on the 4. Just make that bigger so I can see the install button and click on install, and then it will go through. Now with some of these you have to do some button pressing, which you'll just have to imagine if that's the case. You kind of hold the center button down and the top button and then release it when instructed to do so, but it doesn't seem to be wanting me to do that here. And then we can have a look at the audio experience and the screen experience on the two 4th gens. This most recent one is another one that was very charitably described as not working, since there was a picture of the screen on, but the seller was just playing safe and said, I've not tested it all, so I'm listing it as for parts or not working, and it cost me 30 quid I think. So it's already earned its corn by keeping me in audiobook through a long and painful night when I couldn't get comfortable last night and was screaming in pain every 20 minutes. But you don't want to know about my problems. I suppose a more professional YouTuber would be accelerating this file extraction process, or maybe not putting so many themes on. I could have speeded it up by not putting so many on. We have a sign at the bottom there that indicates that the extraction of all the folders is now complete. So I believe I can now eject the iPod like so and disconnect it. You can't see this, but I've now got a Rockbox screen on the iPod. For now, I'm going to go back into the stock. For what reason? There's a beep that shows I'm doing that. I think so I can just show you what the audiobook looks like. Maybe I'll stop this part of the window. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will put this folder, this has got my interesting album covers. What I need to do, yes, I've lost the thing in there. It's now, so I'm going to plug it in again so that it shows up as a drive, and I'm going to put it on the iPod, and I'm going to put it on via iTunes as well, and see what happens there. Maybe it's no. I'm pretty sure that's the folder. See what? There we go. Took a while. So if I go to this folder, take that one, and drop it on there. Don't even know where that went. That was terrible. Yes, that was really poor. It's copying it to the wrong place. File Explorer again. I need to find perhaps go back from here. Let's imagine that's copying to the iPod. I will actually copy it to the iPod off camera and come back to you in a little while. Okay, see you in a bit. Take two. I have now copied the, obviously the thing to do rather than just try and drag and drop is copy the folder and then more carefully steer to where you are putting it. you need to create a music folder on there, and then you can paste the folder in there. When I've done this, I will start up iTunes. If I could do that at the same time, seems unlikely, doesn't it? I'm going to give it a go anyway. Let's get onto iTunes. Go to music. Should be ticked really. I'm going to file, add a folder, and add that bare folder. Let's go through the process properly. First of all, we'll find it. It's on Plex. The Plex server. I can just find that. There it is. It is in media, music. It's there. Right click on it. Oh no, well here I'm steering to it, so I'm not moving it. I'm just going to select it. Select that folder, add it, and see what becomes of those in music. I suspect I'm liable to crash the system here by trying to do two things at once. Is that still copying? So shouldn't really be messing with iTunes at the same time. So I'm going to stop recording and then we'll go back to it. Is picking him up now. Ow! Ow, 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 ow. Yeah. Oh, blimey. That hurt. This has been going on for far too long. Let's let that finish and I will return when it's done.